Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Timil. I'm a spiritual advisor, leadership coach, and artist. And I'm here for a special summer solstice channeling. This week we have the solstice, but we also have the first of 2 full moons in Capricorn. And typically I channel moon messages inside of my membership space at the overflow, but I wanted to do something for the collective. Bottom of the deck is gradual progress. We're using the Sibyl's Oraculum Oracle of the Black Doves of Africa to start. This is what the deck looks like. So we have 3 cards. We have detachment, gratitude, and mirror. Interestingly enough, as we leave Gemini season, as I often say in my writing, if you get my newsletters, I've said over the years that Gemini season is mirror season. And what happens when you are really pure soul, pure energy, learning, as we all are, how to be human through relationship, we know that relationships can often be mirrors. I give the caveat about all of our souls are pure, but when you are intentionally engaged in a healing or a wholeness or an ascension practice, and you intentionally do your best to engage with people as they are, you find yourself being or becoming a reflector of the places potentially that people aren't willing to look at themselves yet, and you may experience a lot of projection. And it's very, very heightened in Gemini season. Geminis often mirror back to you what it is that you're putting out there, unintentionally, unconsciously, and it's not even the same as like matching energy. It's almost like this auto attunement that Geminis have. And so in this season, we become that, or we have become that for each other. Whether or not you like what you see is irrelevant, Spirit says, because whatever you experience or whatever you attempted to label, whatever you attempted to diagnose, even if you went so far as you're instantly met with the ways in which you share those behaviors. For some of us. For others of us, it is this reclamation of our autonomy, our personality, our unique individual creative expression. And in doing so, we detach from projections. The mirror is broken in some ways, whereas we no longer seek to grow through that type of mirroring in relationship. And so that is why we have this detachment here, showing us that we're blooming in a new way. And that is not to say that we're no longer going to be engaged in relationship in a way that helps us grow. Of course we are. But we are not trying to force what one of my spiritual teachers has said in the past, Jeanette Lewis of Inner Sun Alchemy. There's a message that had been coming through over the years from her around stop forcing contracts and stop creating karma unnecessarily with people by trying to cling to relational dynamics that no longer serve. And so that is what we have here, this opportunity to depart from these contracts in ways that elevate us spiritually with gratitude. And so we exit some of these contracts, especially with the South Node moving through Libra, which represents contracts, karmic contracts, soul contracts, assignments. And we detach from a season of completion, whether it's in relationships with others, whether it's with projects, whether it's through job opportunities, and we embark upon something outside of fear with the awareness that while spirit is able to create miracles, quantum leaps, take us farther than we can ask or think, at the same time, what our work to do is, especially grounded in this Capricorn moon, is to do our work, right? And be responsible for what we can be responsible for daily. And we'll probably be starting to see the way some of these relational dynamics were keeping us from speaking our truth. Were keeping us from expressing ways they were really constricting or limiting us in a way that impacted our actual physical body, because it starts in the spirit and comes down to our physical body. So we're letting these things go. We're allowing things to wither. And we're even, if you think about the way the sun, especially in climates like where I am in Texas, to scorch things that may have started to bloom, but no longer nourish, no longer have anything left to teach us, right? So I really love this book, this Oracle deck, and I'm going to read from the Oracle deck later, potentially in an extended message that will be exclusive to the membership. So we'll go deeper on those a little bit later. But I want to get into the tarot using Dust to Onyx by Courtney Alexander, which I typically use for moon messages. The Lovers. Gemini season is still strong. This is my favorite card in this deck. The Nine of Coins. So in relationships, sometimes people can help you see yourself, but they know who they are, right? And they're strong enough to support you. And there's a mutuality and not even a strength as if it's something heavy to hold, while of course sometimes it can be. But there's this right sizing or realignment in tenderness. And that's like how you'll know, right? If the tenderness is present. If you feel safe and secure enough to stand in your fullness and your authority without feeling like a pushback or there's just like this energy allowing for a greater independence. almost like a bounce back, I'm feeling. Of course, the Lovers can also speak to polarity, and at the summer solstice, we're at the height of that, right? With the sun and the moon. With the sun and the moon. No. Those are song lyrics that I have in my head, but with the summer solstice, with the midpoint of the year. 8 of Staffs and the 4 of Swords. I'll show you 8 of Staffs. And I'll show you 4 of Swords. This 8 of Staffs represents prayers of gratitude, not only to your ancestors, but for the people in your life that offer this level of tenderness, this level of compassion, this level of support, this level of union and communion. And by focusing our attention there, it is much easier to release these emotions around things that didn't fill us or don't fill us. And in this deep, like, meditation or expression of gratitude towards our ancestors, our team, even if we feel alone right now in the physical world, in relationships, there's an invitation into a perspective shift around where it is your attention should be focused. And this is really the truth that Spirit has wanted you to see in the days leading into the summer solstice, in the days leading into the Capricorn full moon. Wanting you to see misalignment more clearly, wanting you to be grateful for the protection of the removal, wanting you to see the real physical impact that misalignment or forced contracts had on your physical body, on your creativity, on your ability to sustain your creative projects, on your ability to focus your energies in ways that were fruitful. It's almost as if this card is showing you the function of, I keep saying misalignment or forced contracts, but this almost like despair when you try to make yourself fit within a world where you don't belong, whether that's somebody else's world, an expired assignment or whatever. But it's like the reason why all it produces in the astral realm, in the emotional body, is this stagnant stasis that doesn't pour back into you. It is not generative. And so moving forward, as we're building up your esteem, as we're building up our regard, our self-regard, as we're, I really keep hearing this like bounce back, as we're stepping more fully into our power after finding ourselves, after experiencing some weird, like, or not so weird, a standard operating procedure almost of things that, you know, attach for the purpose of non-mutuality, right? Kind of a succubus type energy. We see these cups in front of us, these responsibilities in front of us. And there may be some shame, there may be some grief, there may be some sadness around how you let your view of yourself become attached to something external, whether it was a person or whether it was something not turning out the way that you had planned for it to turn out, or what have you. You see that this is like a broken gourd. And so it's like all of this energy, all of this attention, all of this that you spent pouring into this, you're now recognizing how little you really had to pour into this. And now the question is why? Like, why or what was so attractive about this distraction, or this, what was the allure of this thing that seduced you almost? And this is where we learn, right? We, through the practice of detachment and non-judgment, are able to identify what it is that we saw in the mirror reflection of that external thing that made us want to unconsciously give ourselves away. What did we think that we did not already have? What did we think that we were not worthy of? What did we think that we would stand to gain from that level of not necessarily over giving, but over identification? So we're going to go deeper with this message, and the full message will be found at theoverflow.com. If this is resonating with you, I invite you to join us there. Information around how to work with me is in the caption, and I'll get us some closing guidance before we transition by starting to read detachment, right, for us, and how we detach in a way that is not bypassing, but as a spiritual practice. Yes. When loss is an investment in peace, defeat is illusory. The broken rose symbolizes dispassionate thinking, detaching head from heart. Stop obsessing and completely let go of any emotional attachments related to the matter in question. So that's our message. I invite you into the extended. We're going to be talking about what we're building next and a little more about the wisdom gained from whatever this past season was, and potentially some specific decrees or prayers to pray to help to fully and further release this lingering emotions and actions and steps to take. All right. I'll see you in part 2.